in reference to when I was talking about student loans being 6%, Christine, I think, says, I don't know who you have been talking to about student loan interests. Mine are 29%, 31%, 21%, 19% on my individual loan disbursements for a degree I didn't earn due to my medical issues getting in the way. And yes, in all capitals, I'm worried about inflation because my household of 6 lives on a single income of $26,000.
What?
And I do everything from coupons, savings, rebate apps on top of scouring clearance and sales circulars, and then some with consignment shops, Salvation Armies, resale stores, yard sales, clothes swaps with friends and family, kids of similar sizes, and hand-me-downs. I go through 4 rolls of paper towel a year to clean up. She does DIY diaper wipes. She's potty training a 1-year-old. She bakes in the winter to get the house warmer without turning up heat and freeze any overage for summer consumption. To save on trips to the store in the summer, the thermostat is set at 75. The thermostat is set at 75 because that's as hot as I can stand it. And it's 65 in the winter because I could not live with 55 or 60 degrees 24/7. But I'll skip bronchitis and pneumonia in my kids because I won't endanger their health to pinch that many more pennies. This channel used to be so uplifting, quite disappointed in the lack of uplifting Christian community that used to be a solid staple of my week. Okay, so that was her first comment. And I proceeded to say, well, it sounds like you're not very determined to get out of poverty. That's all I said. So then she responded and said, multiple sclerosis, fibromyalgia, endometriosis, diabetic, to name a few things I have to deal with while raising 4 beautiful children ages 1 to 12. My husband works from home to be able to help me from the day to day on days when I literally cannot function from pain that does not respond to my pain meds because it's literally caused by the CNS, central nervous system, damage that blank near took a quarter of my overall CNS. And rounds of chemotherapy, nearly forgot to list that
you need to read it all.
Well, I kind of have a point in reading all of this. So if you guys can make it through all this, I actually have a point with this.
I'm having a hard time.
List all that, but yay remission, and hopefully I get 5 more years with my family before my brain can no longer cope with the disease burden and the rest of my systems independently shut down. But sure, the problem's that I don't want to get out of poverty bad enough. Have you ever received a chemo bill for $77,000 or been prescribed a disease-modifying therapy and cost $5,500 a month? I have. It was only through patient assistance programs and by agreeing to become a long-term clinical trial participant for 5 years that I was able to get my first round of therapies, blah, blah, blah. All right, she says she still has her mental faculties but can't get on disability. She said she has so many doctor's appointments between her and the 4 kids in flu season and all that, on top of childcare, household duties, helping friends and family. She is a safe place to vent and swap advice with colicky newborns and hormone-driven 14-year-olds and how to establish sourdough is the advice she's giving her friends. But sure, my problem is that I'm not motivated to get out of poverty. You used to give such good advice. What happened?
Your problem is you're really whiny and you want everybody to think that you're the only one in the world that has problems.
Okay.
My goodness, girl. Wow. Wow.
Okay.
Where do we start?
Okay, here's where we start. Some people in life, they are only happy when they are miserable. Well, and you are one of them.
Well, then they're only happy being a hero to people because of all the misery you can list off. I mean, if you have to list, there are a lot of people. I've known people that were dying of cancer, like weeks away from when they're expected to die, and they're happy. But they don't go and list off 40 ailments that they have and all sorts. It's like when you were reading that list, and of course, obviously you're being sarcastic, which makes it even more obvious that you're aware
that you're whining.
That you're whining. But the thing is that when you list off that whole list, it's like, look at what a hero I am.
Yeah.
Because I have all these, we only have $26,000 for our family of 6. Why?
Okay.
Minimum wage is more than that in most places.
Okay, Mike's about to have his head blow off his shoulders, so.
I'm just like, where did all these whiny people come from?
So, let me say a couple of things. First of all, I completely sympathize with you.
Well, when you said you had, a few things that you said, I was like some of this, like multiple sclerosis is, I know this is a serious thing. But just when people start rattling off lists of stuff, that's where I no longer have any sympathy. Because I'm just thinking, yeah, okay, MS is a sorry, sad thing, and it's unfortunate, and that's bad. But the whole tone of the message is, I'm entitled. I'm entitled to have stuff because everyone else needs to dance around my situation. And the thing is, like, I'm sorry, there's no excuse to have $26,000 income unless your husband is blind and he's working at a blind, like some kind of place for the blind where they just basically throw somebody a check to give him a job. I mean, if he's a normal guy, then he needs to go out and find a job that pays more. And you were saying about working at home, there are lots of things you can do at home that pay way more than $26,000 a year.
Even with 4 kids and taking care of an unhealthy wife.
So now, I'm sorry, but that's an excuse.
There is absolutely no excuse. Now, I will give you one excuse. Now, if you would have told me my husband is earning $26,000 a year so we can be on Medicaid, so we can pay our medical bills, because we were drowning in medical bills that weren't getting paid for, I would totally be okay with that and say, I totally understand that. Obama completely decimated our medical system. There is no reason for me to be charged $2,500 in my town for the same ultrasound that was $200 in a town 90 miles away. He has decimated the medical system. I understand that, and I feel for you. But unless you are earning that amount of money to be on Medicaid, there is no excuse for your husband to be earning that amount of money, even staying home and helping you and the kids. He can easily get in an 8-hour workday between nap time and after the kids go to bed. The 12-year-old can help babysit for a couple of hours if he needed to. There are plenty of jobs. You can start a YouTube channel and in 6 months be making that amount of money. In 6 months, just doing a YouTube channel.
Doesn't even have to be a very good YouTube channel to make $26,000.
Now, the other thing is, you said you have a 1 to 12-year-old.
Well, hold on. One other thing I would say is, let's just say, okay, you have MS, you're in really bad shape. I feel for you on that, okay? Let's say, like Tara said, your husband is only making $26,000 so you can be on Medicaid because that's what pays your MS medical bills. Okay, so far you got me. I'm all right. But what's the deal with just listing off all the college loans? If you're in that bad of shape and you have no money, forget the student loans. Just forget about it.
And this is why you don't get them in the first place.
This is why you don't get them in the first place. But if you got yourself into it, because like with the student loans,
this is the consequences of your bad decisions.
And the thing is, if you were working a job and then you got sick with MS and you had to quit your job and you're stuck with loans, I have compassion on that.
But you still shouldn't have taken them out in the first place.
But honestly, if you have no money, I just wouldn't prioritize paying those. I mean, it sounds like you don't expect that you're going to live that long. And if that's the case, why waste the money?
Why are you worrying about it?
But if you got all these student loans and then you decided to be a single parent family before you had MS.
You mean single income?
Single income family before you had MS, then that's kind of on you on the student loans. Because I'm sorry, if you go out and get a whole bunch of student loans and then you decide I want to be a stay-home mom, too bad. Like, you got all the student loans, they need to be paid off. So if your husband can't pay them, you got into it. Again, like I said, if you had to quit working because you got MS, that's fine. But you can't just get a bunch of student loans and then decide I'm going to be a stay-home mom, and therefore somebody else is responsible for my student loan debt.
And this is why we tell people do not have any debt at all. Do not get debt for a car. Do not go into debt for student loans.
And it's still possible to pay as you go for college.
You never know what will happen. You never know what will happen. Now so that is your decision that you made to get the student loans with 29% interest. It's your husband's choice to make $26,000 a year for a family of 6, which frankly is just plain irresponsible. Third, you said you have kids from age 1 to 12. Why are you still having children if you cannot afford them and cannot take care of them? I'm sorry. Mike and I had 4 kids. I was sick before we got married. We knew what we were getting into when we had each child, and we both agreed that it would be difficult.
And it was difficult.
But
we didn't complain about it.
We did not continue to keep having children when it was not physically and financially possible for us to do that. Now, we did get a 5th child on us. We had help with Social Security paying for that because her dad had died and our niece came to live with us, so we weren't paying all of her bills. I mean, I'm sure there was stuff that we paid out of pocket to help her, but sometimes that's just life. But then there are times you have choices, and it's fine. I don't care how many children you have. You can have 25 for all I care. But then don't complain about how your family is having to live on $26,000 and you can't afford your student loans.
Yeah, I mean, one thing with the student loans is when you get them, you're promising you're going to pay. And so it's just not okay to have $26,000 family income. Like I said, if he's disabled, like he's blind, because even if he's disabled and not blind,
he can
still make a lot more than $26,000.
I know a blind YouTuber who is doing YouTube to earn his family's income. So there's really no excuse nowadays for no one to be earning a decent income for their family. There's really not.
I just want to come back again, and this isn't to Christine. I'm not speaking specifically to Christine. I'm speaking to anyone who has a giant list of things they like to say. I have this disease and that disease and this condition and this hormone or this gene and this whatever else, and just list off a whole bunch of stuff. Just cut it out. Like, if you have things, that's fine. But if all you do is make it your identity, I have all these things, you're going to make your life worse. Not only that, but other people aren't going to really want to talk to you. No. Because it's fine if you're like, I have MS. Because in that whole list of things you said, I think maybe MS and fibromyalgia, I might tell people, or MS and diabetes. But if you just go through an entire list, it just looks like you're just trying to get pity from people.
Yeah.
And it's unfortunate if you have all those things, but you don't have to give the whole list to everyone. And I notice a lot of people do this, and I don't really know why, but it's not helpful to you or anyone else to have a giant list. I'm not speaking of just Christine. There's a lot of people I hear that have like a laundry list of diseases. And there are things that I've had the doctor tell me, oh, you have this problem. And you know what? I don't talk about it because I realize if I just say all the time, oh, I have this. Well, like, okay, so now I'm going to confess one. They told me like 20 years ago I have asthma. You know what? I never say I have asthma. And I go hiking with my boys. I hike 8, 10, 12 miles with apparently what's asthma. And I'm not trying to deny it. I'm just saying I'm not going to make that my identity. I'm not going to let it stop me from doing those things.
Sometimes you just have to forge on anyway.
And so if you have a problem, like obviously MS is very debilitating, and I wouldn't bust your chops over that. But obviously when you list off an entire list of sicknesses and then a list of responsibilities for your kids, and then a list of all these optional items, like what was it about mentoring people and
she's a safe space for her friends and family to come and get sourdough established. Why are you doing all that?
If all those other things are a problem, then you don't have the ability to be a safe space and teach people sourdough. Like, to me, it's just a list of, look at what a hero I am for my suffering. And that's just not a good place to be in life.
Now, I will say, if Christine has listened to this whole rant, from the things that you're listing, the multiple sclerosis and the central nervous system problems, and even the diabetes, I have started hyperbaric oxygen therapy. And I feel like a new person. And I know that it's cash, and I don't know where you guys are going to come up with the money to pay for this. Some doctors' offices can give you a prescription, and you can get it if you happen to have insurance. But if there is any way you can afford it, central nervous system issues is one thing, and multiple sclerosis, fibromyalgia, those are treatable by the hyperbaric oxygen.
Tara's not a doctor, she's just saying.
Not a doctor. This is just my experience and my research and talking with people. That is an option to help you with that. It also, they put people with cancer on it. So go research it, see what you think. That is an option of something that might help you feel better. But, you know, I have a quote that I have sitting on my sink, and I can't remember exactly what it is. We're in the car now, so I can't go see it. But it says something to the effect of, what if our hope isn't in that something will change, but that if we keep trying, we will find a solution. You have to keep trying. And people say, Tara, well, you have chronic fatigue syndrome and fibromyalgia. How do you do so much? Because I keep trying.
And she doesn't let the list of things that she struggles with
keeping me from doing
keep her
things
down and become her identity.
Now, I may not be able to go on hikes with the guys, but that's my own darn tootin' fault, because I'm just not getting into shape, because I'd rather be painting my kitchen than exercising. So that is our 2 cents on that. Sometimes you've got to stop whining and just accept things as they are and look for a solution as you can and work with what you have, and just realize sometimes life stinks and you're just dealt a bad hand of cards, and just move on.
But I would still say, in your case, unless it's for medical reasons that he has to make $26,000, your husband needs a new job next week.
Yeah.
Like, it's easy to get more than $26,000 in 1 week.
Mm-hmm.
In 1 week to get a job that pays more than that.
He means earn in 1 week, earn more than that.
Yeah, not that you make $26,000 in a week, but that you can get a job that pays more than that easily.
Yeah.